Shalom, shalom. Can you hear me?
Shalom Aleichem. Yes, we can hear you. We can see you. Mr. Jacobs excused himself for today. He wasn't able to make it. I don't know. Maybe he wrote to you directly. But the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. I feel great. It's a great honor for me to speak to Holland. I was always brought up that Holland is a place of flowers, dikes, windmills, and clogs. Is that correct?
Amongst other things.
Amongst other, okay. So,
not everybody lives in a windmill.
Okay, but it's a nice dream.
Yeah.
And here I'm with Holland, and I'm speaking the Holy Land, from the Holy Land. What's the connection? Quite close. Holland and Holy Land. Holland and Holy Land.
Yeah.
Sounds similar.
Yeah. So what's missing? What makes the difference? The Yud. The Yud from Yiddishkeit. You bring a little Yiddishkeit into.
So it's good to meet good people who spending their time in the evening and to learn together. And I see my father is also joining. He's there to supervise me to make sure I say good things. I hope I won't disappoint him. So let's start off something about Elul. And I would like to share with you an idea that came to my mind. We know that countries can be at war, as Europe knows what's happening now. And sometimes there's a need to send warplanes, send fighter planes deep into enemy territory on a mission. We send the best pilots with the most advanced planes and equipment, carrying the missiles to some strategic target deep or far away. Now, even the best of planes and the best of pilots, they have their limitations, because as much as the plane can fly, but there's something crucial that we're going to run out of. Fuel. And even the engines are working well, everything goes as planned, but they're going to run out of fuel to get so far and deep and get back. There's a tremendous need to refuel. And because it's in hostile territory, they can't just land and stop at the local gas station and refuel. So there's a need something called mid-air refueling. How does that work? The country will send a tanker, a plane into some neutral territory of the sea somewhere, and the fighter planes will go and make sure to reach the tanker, fly underneath, and the tanker will have these tubes coming down, the plane go underneath, and the tube will inject vital petrol, refined gas, special plane petrol, which will enable the plane to continue in its mission, be successful, and get home in one piece. Now, to make that happen, 1 second, sudden noise. Chesky? To make that happen, the pilot needs to make a plan. And even though he feels his engine's going well, everything's all right, but if he doesn't make a plan to meet the tanker, he's just going to go straight to his mission. eventually, when the red light would go on, he's running out of fuel, it'd be too late. He must have a plan how to meet the tanker and get new fuel. He doesn't make a plan. He just flies. Eventually, his engine will fail. Number two, even if he does reach the tanker and he's getting fuel injected into his plane, but if the opening is blocked up, his plane is unable to receive the life-saving fuel, it's full of dirt, then it won't help him. He has to make sure to clean his plane, make sure that the opening can receive the oil, can receive the petrol, get rid of any dirt, should be clean, and then he can receive the petrol. So two things have to happen. He has to make a plan to get there, be right under the tanker, and then he can do mid-air refueling. He also has to make sure there's no dirt. Otherwise, you won't be able to retain this life-saving fuel. This I would like to suggest could be applied to what's happening to us right now. Baruch Hashem, we may be fine, healthy, hope so, and we're fine well. But our engine, our fuel is going to run out because we've only got enough fuel to go from year to year, from Rosh Hashana to Rosh Hashana. So we have to refuel. Even though our engines may seem to be going well, but our supply is going to run out. We must get a new year's supply of life, of health, of good things to be able to proceed. So we have to make a plan. We have to make a plan to be there and to be in the right position to receive new fuel, new health, new abundance, new wealth, to enable us to fly and continue and succeed in our mission. If we have dirt, we have chet, we have things that are mekatrik, that stop us from being able to receive this life-saving liquid, it won't help us. So I think this is a good analogy for El. Clean up any dirt we have, try and get rid of it, and make a plan to be there at the right place. Don't just sail ahead and think everything's fine. But we have to look ahead and realize that we all have a need to refuel. So hopefully, together, us and Klal Yisrael all be there and B'ezras Hashem have a wonderful, safe journey and be successful in our mission. Any questions are welcome. I'd like to share with you an idea I heard from Rabbi Pinkus. Probably heard of Rav Shimshon Pinkus. So he was in our yeshiva. I learned in Ofakim. And at the time, he came to speak in Rosh Hashana. And he gave us two very powerful ideas for Rosh Hashana. Rosh Hashana is the day of Malchus Hashem. So he told us about, he had a brother-in-law who was a Rosh Yeshiva in Los Angeles. So he said. And the president of the United States was planning a visit to Los Angeles. And part of his route was to visit the yeshiva. So the White House sent out a plane of clerks to make sure that everything is going as planned, to make sure things are done appropriately before the president would arrive to the yeshiva. On a vacation, they were accepting the president in the lunchroom, and they brought new curtains. Can you imagine, it was yeshiva, so what type of curtains did they have? Special, nice, beautiful curtains in honor of the president. And the White House representative came, said, show me where you're going to, the Kabbalah Sponim, show me the reception room where you're going to receive the Rosh Hashana, the president. And Yeshiva showed them beautiful lunchroom, beautiful curtains. And the clerk came in and said, no, change the curtains. Yeshiva said, why? New curtains, brand new, so beautiful. He said, no. When the president comes in, all eyes need to be watching the president. We don't have a situation that some people, instead of looking at the president, we're looking at the beautiful curtains. Therefore, have nice curtains, but simple, plain. A pleasant color, but plain. There should be background. It shouldn't catch the eye, because the eye has to be focused on the president only, nothing else. The clerk continued and said, surely you're going to play some music when the president comes. Play the music for me. I want to hear what music you're going to play when the president will arrive. Yeshiva had hired a band, beautiful tunes, beautiful music. Before the president, it's not every day the president of the United States comes to visit the yeshiva. The clerk said, no, change the music. Why? Beautiful tunes, said the clerk. When the president comes in, all eyes need to be glued on the president only. We don't want people to be listening to the tune. It's too loud. It's too interesting. It's too attractive. The tune must be background music. Pleasant. Nice to hear, but background music, it shouldn't distract people. That's why we have to change the music. So all eyes will be glued to the present only, nothing else. This is where Pinchas explained to us was his mashal for Malchus Hashem. Of course, we have many things in our life. We have health, wealth, food, family, holidays, many things that we have, and all important. But they must all be there to facilitate, to enable us to be focused on Hashem. If these things distract us, we forget what we're here for, we forget our purpose of life, we forget our mission, and that's taking away from Malchus Hashem. Malchus Hashem is that everything is centered around and serving the Melech Hashem. The facilitating for us to get to that relationship. That's true Malchus. Hashem Echad. All that's there is for him. So that is a beautiful idea that Rav Pinchas was sharing us, explaining to us what is Malchus Hashem. Which all merits to be Zeich and Rosh Hashana, to accept the true Malchus. And of course, when Hashem is your Melech, he will surely provide for his citizens and give them all their needs, and the health and the wealth and everything they need. So that was the second idea which I want to share with our wonderful people here. So now, first, again, any questions? Any questions, welcome. Have you heard of Rabbi Pinchas? He used to have a brother who lived who was a Rosh Kollel in Switzerland. as well. Okay, so today I would like to discuss a very important topic, because since we are approaching Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur, and we need to make sure that just in case we have hurt someone during the year, we want to make sure to atone for if we've done anything wrong. We ask Mechila. For Yom Kippur, we ask forgiveness from people. So I'd like to discuss a very important topic about bearing a grudge. If someone's done wrong to us, are we entitled to be upset? Are we entitled to hold it against him? Can we be angry at someone? Or are we supposed to forgive everyone? What was, not to keep things in our memories, trying to raise things. Whatever happened, happened. I forgive everyone. What does the Torah demand from us? Are we entitled to bear a grudge? If someone hurt us, someone said a joke about us, someone said bad things about us, are we allowed to remember it? Or are we supposed to forget about it? So I'd love to hear any feedback from people here. What do they think? I'm going to repeat the question. People get hurt, and people bear grudge. Grudge means that it's there. You remember every day you wake up in the morning and say, oh, what that guy did to me. He really hurt me. He offended me. He made fun of me. I'm really angry with him. Is that permitted? Or do we say, you got to forget about it? Move on in life. Not allowed to remember. You're harboring bad things about someone else. Is that permitted or is that forbidden? What do you all think? So that's Mrs. Zelda, do you want to say something?
Why should not keep grudge against someone?
Because maybe I'm very hurt. Am I allowed to keep a grudge, or do I have to forgive him?
I should forgive him.
I have to. Do I have to?
I have to. I have to.
So if someone said bad things about me, made fun of me, so I have to forgive him?
Yes. Yes.
Even if he didn't ask for forgiveness?
Yes.
It's definitely a nice thing to do. But I want to know, is that really an obligation? So if someone stole from me, do I also have to forgive him?
It's difficult, but better to try to.
It's definitely a wonderful thing to do, but I want to know, do you have to forgive? Do you have to just let it go? If someone borrowed money from me, doesn't pay it back, do I have to just like forgive?
No. It's difficult.
Someone said bad things about me to my boss. It wasn't true. He got fired. I'm now unemployed. So I have to forgive. Say Lashon Hara about me.
No.
That's it. Just clean.
Well, but it is better to forgive.
That's a beautiful thing. I want to know, do you have to? Then, so I want to, okay. So let's, what do you mean talk about, I see we got a message from Mrs. Eli, talk about understand, talk about with who? With the person who did it bad to me?
Yeah, we have to talk about it and say what has happened, how we have perceived this, and why it happened.
Okay, I definitely agree with you, but do I have to forgive up front?
Not right away, I would say. I first should want to know and understand it, and then we can forgive, maybe.
And if he definitely does not understand, he owes me money, he doesn't pay.
Sorry, if
the person borrowed from me, he owes me money, doesn't pay it back, so I have to forgive. What's that to talk about?
Yeah, if he doesn't pay finally, there's nothing you can do about it. So
I could
then
forgive
it's better
him.
to
Do I have
forgive
to?
it, so it doesn't hurt. I don't have it doesn't keep me. I otherwise I won't be free. If I keep it all the time as against him, I will never be free from this event. So it will bother me.
I definitely understand what you're saying, and that's why it may be worthwhile to do that. I'm trying to identify what does the halacha say. What do you have to do? So, okay. So I want to talk about revenge. So Torah says, "Lo yisikoyim v'lo yisitor." So what would that be? Someone said something very nasty about me. He called me a name. You know, he called me an idiot. Okay, I'm very offended. Not nice thing to say that. So next time he comes to shul, I want to call the guy a Russia. I want to say this guy is a gunner, right? So that's called revenge. Besides Lashon Hara, so it's also revenge. Because I want to do what he did to me. He embarrassed me, I want to embarrass him. Torah says, Lo yisikoim v'lo yisitor. One's not allowed to take revenge. Now, what about if I'm not going to actually take the revenge, but I'm upset. I'm harboring what he did. I remember what he did. I won't forget what he did to me. It's called Lo yisitor. The Torah says one cannot even harbor what he did. What's the example given? Example given, if I wanted to borrow someone's car, I came over to him, can I please borrow your car? And this person, he has 3 cars, and he doesn't need his cars. And he tells me, I don't rent my cars to people. Sorry. Wrong address. I tell him I really need to urgently. I just picked someone up from the airport. My car broke down. Can you lend me your car? No, I don't lend cars to people. So I'm very upset. And guess what? Down the road, a month later, his car breaks down. He comes to me and says, please, you're such a nice guy. Can I borrow your car? And I'm going, I want to blow up. So I could tell him, do you remember that I needed your car? And you said, no? Well, I'm not going to lend you my car either. I'm going to teach you a lesson. That is called Nakom. It's revenge. It's sweet revenge. You didn't lend me your car, I will not lend you my car. That's called Nakom. It's forbidden by the Torah. Now, what happens if I won't take the revenge? I tell him, do you remember that I asked you for your car, you wouldn't lend it to me? Well, I'm not like you. I will lend you my car. So even I'm lending the car, because I'm remembering what he did. What should be done? Says the Chinuch. You gotta understand, one needs to raise it from your heart, from memory. You gotta understand the pain, the aggravation that you got when he didn't lend you his car. It was you deserved it. Really, it's Hashem. You deserve some pain. You deserve the aggravation. You've done some sins. You need to be punished. It's not really him. It's Hashem. So don't get upset. Rather, I want you to raise it from your memory. This is a demand Torah expects from every single person. Not only not to take actual revenge, but one not even not to harbor the grudge, one needs to forget about it, understanding it's not really him. It's all Hashem. So just forget about it. And he comes to ask you for his car. So of course, please be my guest. Welcome to borrow my car. Wow. So that's the way it's possible. That's the halacha. What I want to discuss today is that elsewhere we see, I don't have to forget about what people did to me. In 3 places, the Rambam tells us about how to behave when someone hurt me, someone injured me, someone offended me. The Rambam is to be found in Hilchos Tshuva, which is talking about Yom Kippur, and other places. The Rambam tells us that unlike sins between man and God, where we do tshuva and that's enough, sins between man and his friend, I stole from someone, I injured someone, I offended someone, it's not enough just to make a bank transfer and pay him the money I owe him. If I stole, it's not just enough to give him the money back. I need to ask Mechila. I need to tell him I'm really upset what I did. It's definitely wrong. I hurt you. And I'm going to ask Mechila. And even the guy says no, I have to come back again and bring friends and try and appease him. He says no again, I come back a 3rd time, I don't give up. A friend of mine told me he's a South American. He's from Venezuela. Told me that there was a certain member of the Kehillah who felt that he had offended someone. And this person already moved to Miami. So this person took a plane, he flew him and a few people, flew all the way to Miami to meet the person and ask Mechila. Because demonstrating he really regretted what he'd done. Says the Rambam, after 3 times, the person has genuinely asked Mechila, now one should definitely forgive him. Now, if you don't forgive him, you are the sinner. And even though the person has really done bad to you, since he genuinely asked Mechila, you should be meichel him. If you don't, you are the choite. You're the sinner. Because the derech of Am Yisrael is to forgive. The Rambam writes this in 3 places. And he's teaching us that the whole idea of forgiving is when the aggressor has asked mechila. When he confesses and admits and acknowledges what he's done, he's asking mechila, but nowhere do we say that I have to forgive up front. I'm not obligated to just forgive and just erase it as if nothing happened. No, something did happen, and he needs to ask mechila. Once he asks mechila, I'm moichel. But he needs to ask. The Rambam tells us I also have to remind him. I need to explain to him what he did. Listen, remember then that joke you made? Everyone was laughing. I was actually very offended, you should know. I need to explain to him. He may not even be aware that I'm hurt. So I need to give an opportunity. But no one says I have to forgive. Rambam does right. It's a person who's a low life. He's like not 100%. I don't have to bother and explain to him. I can be moichel such a guy. Because he's like he doesn't have full IQ. He's like his brain only works 50%. So I'm moichel such a guy, even now I'm asking for it. A regular person, I'm not obligated. If I'm hurt, I'm entitled to be hurt. I just need to explain to him what he did. And we ask mechila, moichel. We don't say, I'm gonna, it's just an act of God. I deserved it. It wasn't him. So this is what I'm trying to understand together. Why is it when it comes to Nekama, I'm not allowed to harbor the grudge, and I have to tell myself that it was an act of God. It wasn't really him. I have to forget about it. But elsewhere, we don't find that we're obligated to forget about things. If I'm hurt, I'm hurt. And I'm fully entitled for the person to understand what he did. He needs to regret what he did. Only then am I obligated to forgive. So this is what I want to understand together. What's the difference? When do we say that forget about it, don't bear the grudge, move on in life? Please. So when do we say that you're hurt, you're entitled, that the person should ask forgiveness, should apologize? Any ideas? So I'd like to share with you the following insights. There's a fundamental difference between revenge and being hurt. Revenge is about wishing the offender to suffer what I suffered. I want him to suffer. That's revenge. He didn't lend me his car. The sweet revenge is that when he needs a car, I won't give him my car. Revenge is all about him. I want him to feel the pain they did to me. I want him to suffer like I suffered. That's revenge. That's forbidden by the Torah. Because it's not your business for him to suffer. And even if you're just harboring that grudge, but harboring a grudge, I wish he'd suffer what I suffered. Even I won't do it, but I would love that to happen. I'm dreaming of that to happen. I wish his car would break down. I wish his car would get stolen. He didn't lend me his car. I wish his car would have a crash. That's all part of revenge. That is, the Torah says, no, wrong. Don't have revenge, and tell yourself it's an act of God, it wasn't really him. But if I am hurt, someone offended me, someone injured me, someone stole from me, I'm fully entitled to feel hurt. I'm a human being, and I deserve an apology. I deserve the apology. You offended me. I don't have to forgive. It's a beautiful thing to forgive. I'm entitled to an apology. That is my. No one says I have to go against. I do. I need to explain to him what happened. He may not even remember. Don't keep things under the carpet, under the table. One needs to express them, explain what happened. If it bothers you, he needs to know. Let him ask Mechila. After the Mechila, I'm Meichel. But I'm not obligated to say, oh, doesn't matter. The guy took the loan from me, doesn't want to pay me back. I'm makpid, right? The guy scratched my car. I care, right? Because these are things which he hurt me. If I want his car to get scratched, that's called revenge. If it's about myself, I'm a human being, I have feelings, and my feelings are legitimate. And if you wrong me, I'm entitled for an apology. So this, I would like to suggest, is the avodah of these days, when we need to calculate and think, is anyone we offended, anyone we hurt? And if so, we need to make sure that person gives a mechila, and to ask them if it's something not something serious, small things people just forget about. But if we hurt someone, say bad things about someone, etc., etc. So we need to really seriously think about it, that he deserves an apology. So we're gonna. This is really the end of our session. So any questions? So I want to thank everyone for joining us. I apologize if I said things which may be extreme. Let's just summarize what we learned today. We started off by talking about the idea of mid-air refueling, that even though the engines are going well, you have to make a plan to be able to move on, to get refueled. And that's what's happening now. As much as we are traveling and moving ahead, but we need to refuel again. Because that's Rosh Hashana, and Yom Kippur, we get new life, Sefer Chaim. So we have to be there and make a plan to be in the right place to get refueled. And just in case our it's blocked up, our pipes are blocked up, we won't be able to get the fuel. So we have to unblock them. So we have Averos and things like that to make sure to clean them up. So we're able to get the life-saving fuel that Hashem will inject into us. We spoke the idea of Malchus. Malchus is that Hashem is the center. Everything else is serving that center, enhancing the center, but not a center of its own. If the means turn into an aim, it's a problem. Everything should be a means to get to Kriyas Hashem, but not an aim of its own. When we spoke the idea of revenge, that's forbidden, and even harboring a revenge is also, because revenge is about, I want the other person to suffer. That's forbidden. But if I am hurt, and if I deserve an apology, I'm entitled to apology. I need to inform the person, share with him, he may not even remember, but once he asks in a genuine way, I should be meichel. So thank you very much. Wish you all a wonderful ksiva v'chasima toiva, and hopefully From Holland, you have to
Thank
come to the
you.
Holy Land.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank
very
you.
much.
We have to
Shalom,
think
shalom.
about it a lot. Thank you.
Shalom, shalom. Welcome for questions. Bye-bye.
Hello.